All right, so up to this point, I've got my layers all set up. I've got my text styles all set up. I've got my dimension styles all set up. And over on page 75, we're going to start with working with something called a multileader. So a multileader is another piece of annotation. This is the multileader tool. If we were to click on it just to see what it does, give a click, we point, and it wants us to put a note at the end of our text string there. So it's a way of pointing out something. It's kind of like a dimension in that, there's a leader, but there's no number attached to it. We're not measuring anything. We're just adding some text and then pointing to the object that we want to add that note about. So that's a multileader, and what we're going to do is we're going to make some multileader styles for the different kinds of drawings that we're going to do. So the way you do that is we go to the Multileader Style Manager, which is on the drop down here in the annotation panel. We see right now there is one style called standard and one called annotative, and we know that standard means junk. So we're going to go in and we're going to create a new style. The style is going to be called mechanical. So for mechanical drawings, we're going to start with the standard style settings, and we're going to continue. This time there's only 3 tabs to worry about, unlike the Dimension Manager, which had lots of tabs. On the first tab, Leader Format, we're going to just change the arrowhead to a slightly smaller size, 0.125. So it's 1/8 of an inch instead of this big hunkin' giant arrow. And then on the second tab, the leader structure, we're going to change the landing distance. See, the landing is this thing here, the little horizontal line before the text starts. We don't need that giant landing. We're going to make a 0.125 for that also. So, smaller landing now. Let's click on the Content tab. On the Content tab, we are changing the text style from standard to Roman S. And then we're changing the text height to our 0.125 standard. Okay, and that's it. 3 tabs out the door, nice and easy. Okay, so that's my mechanical style. What we want to do next is we want to make a new style. And instead of starting with standard, let's start with mechanical. Okay, so it's going to keep all those settings from mechanical. There's no reason to change the arrow size every time, is there? There's no reason to change the text size every time, is there? So since we already want those things to match mechanical, let's just start with mechanical. The name of this style is Balloon. Balloon style, and it'll start mechanical. And then the leader format is already an 1/8. The leader structure is already an 1/8. We're going to change the content though. So on page 80 in the course pack, we see that we're changing it from text to a block. Okay, and then the block that comes up is a detailed callout. We want to set that up as a circle. So here's what we should have. We should have a number inside a circle, and then the landing, and then the leader coming off of it. Okay, and if we hit OK, there is our balloon style leader. We're going to select mechanical again. We're going to make a new style. This is on page 81. We're going to make an architectural leader style. And since we want everything in 1/8 inch, we're going to stick with mechanical for starting, so we don't have to change those settings every time. We'll start up. Now, architectural lettering looks different from mechanical lettering. It's more relaxed. Architectural leaders are going to look a little bit different from these stiff, rigid, precise angle mechanical leaders. So we're going to start with mechanical, but then we're going to make some tweaks. On that first tab, the leader format, instead of a straight line for the leader, we're going to make it a spline. And a spline is just a curvy line, right? So it'll look a little bit more hand-drawn, a little bit more relaxed than it would if it was a perfect straight angle with a horizontal landing at the end. The structure can stay. On the Content tab, we're going to make a couple of changes. We're going to change the text style to the City Blueprint style. And we'll make sure the height is the right height. Okay. And that's it. I have three styles. I have architectural, balloon, and mechanical. I want to set mechanical for my current style. Roman S is my current text style. Decimal 2 is my current dimension style. And mechanical is my current balloon style, or my current multileader style. All right. Anything else that you want to change? Anything else that you want to set up? Well, this would be the point to do it. For example, do you use the grid to draw? Do you like the grid? If you do, is there a particular increment you like to use on your grid? What if the grid was set to 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch? You know, a lot of people like that because it looks like graph paper. And then some people use snap mode. Don't know why, but some people do. If you use snap mode, you probably want to make it match your grid spacing. Major line every 4 spaces will give you a dark line every inch and lighter lines every 1/4 inch if you follow these settings. But one thing you really probably want to turn off is adaptive grid. Adaptive grid is the pits. And then it's helpful for some people to uncheck this box. Display the grid beyond the limits. So what does that do? Well, if you turn on your grid, the grid is only the size of the drawing limits. It's 17 by 11. And for some people, this is a good reminder while they're drawing that, hey, this is how much you asked AutoCAD for. You can draw in here no problem. But sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes if you're outside the limits and you want to do something, AutoCAD will say no. Now, it doesn't consistently say no, but once in a while it will, and it will drive you nuts. So it's good to be aware of your limits and set your limits to the size you need. Now, if you don't like the small little piece of graph paper there, that's fine. If you prefer infinite grid, because you don't really think about the limits, just click on Display Grid Beyond Limits. And now there's that infinite grid again. Okay, so the idea is get things set up the way you like them. Set up the grid, set up the snap, set up the spacing. Which tools do you like to have turned on while you're working? You see, I don't like dynamic mode, so I'm going to turn it off. I do like polar, so I'm going to leave it on. I do like object snap tracking and object snap, I'll leave them on. And for that matter, even the object snaps that you normally work with, you can have them turned on now, and when we start our template, they should be active. So endpoint, midpoint, center, definitely. Intersections, you bet. Perpendicular and tangent, yeah, maybe not, you know? So have on the ones that you most commonly use. Do you like to have the line weight displayed while you're working? If so, turn it on. Okay, and if there's other things turned on and you don't know what those things do, of course, turn them off. All right, so this file is pretty much good to go. This file looks like it's good to go. I'm set to 0 for my current layer. All of my properties are set to by layer. The layer is controlling the color, the line weight, and the line type. I think we got a winner here. So what we're going to do is we're going to save this as a template. I'm going to save this as a template. So we're going to go to save as, because we don't want to save a drawing. We want to save a template. And, up to this point, every time you hit save, you've been saving an AutoCAD DWG file, right? That's because down here it's saying save a DWG file. If you click in the box there, you can see that there's actually several different things you can save out of AutoCAD. So what do we got? Well, here's the current format for AutoCAD drawings. It's AutoCAD 2018. All that means is in 2018 the format changed, and we've been using it since then. Prior to that, 2013, 14, 15, 16, and 17 had a different file format. Now all that means is if you have 18, you can open 13, 14, 15, 16, or 17. But if you have 13, you can't open 18. So every one of these is a step, an incremental step, since AutoCAD has changed the file format. They're all DWG, but they're all different enough where I can't open the new stuff on the older stuff. I can open the older stuff and the newer stuff, no problem. I can't go backwards. Okay, so we're looking at drawings here. We have drawing standard files. We have DXF files for cutting things on plasma cutters or water jet cutters, but this is the one we're looking for. It's right in the middle. It's the AutoCAD drawing template. See, we want to save an AutoCAD template file. So now as soon as you click that, something weird's going to happen. It's going to send you to a folder called templates. And this is inside the AutoCAD installation. These are all the templates that we saw earlier when we clicked on the new button. Now, you definitely don't want to save it here, because if we're at school and you save it on the school computer in the template folder, well, it'll be gone at midnight, right? So you want to save this template in the place where you normally save things. And I'm trying to use OneDrive, so I'm going to go to my OneDrive, into my 28 folder, into my assignment folder. And, this isn't really an assignment. This should be something that we can get to right away from our 28 folder. So let's put it in the 28 folder. Okay, and we're going to call it 20A template. And then again, notice it's a DWT file that we're saving. Okay, and then you hit save. Alright, so the little box here is saying this is a normal English feet and inches drawing template, color dependent plot styles. If you wanted to, you could change that, right? Because this is your template. So the description can be anything you want, okay? And then we hit OK. And now if you look at the title bar up at the top, it's telling you that the name of this is the 20A template, DWT. Alright, so what does that mean? Well, just understand that in the future, when you click on New File, AutoCAD's going to go to whatever template it used last. So since we've been clicking on this button, it's just going and it's finding that ACAD DWT file. Alright, and that ACAD DWT file has the 0 layer and standard and annotative text, standard and annotative dimensions, standard and annotative multileaders. So you don't want to start drawings like this anymore. You don't want to use the button, at least until we figure out where our template is. Okay, so let's try something different. Instead of clicking on Start Drawing, you can click on New File, or you can click on Templates, and I don't see your template in here yet. So let's click on New File, and then it'll ask you which template do you want to pick from. Well, let's go to our OneDrive, and let's go to our 20A folder. And do you see the template? Ta-da! So if you hit Open, you're not opening the template. You're starting a new file from the template. How do I know I didn't open the template? Well, take a look up here. Drawing 9. Okay, if it was the template, if I clicked Open, I click open and open the template. That's not such a good idea because I want the template to be a blank drawing that has all the layers and all the goodies in it that we're wanting to use from drawing to drawing. Okay, so we don't say open to start a file with a template. We say new. And then it'll say where you want to go. And we'll tell it. And we'll select that template. Good to go. Now in the future, if you click on Get Started, do you notice what happened? See, it's remembering the last file you used was your template. So now this button works and allows you to go in and use the template. And we should also see our template down here on the list. No, or not. It's all good. Alright, so clicking the button, once we've used the template once, it'll remember that and use that until we change that sometime in the future. So this is the goal. Set the template up, save the template file. In the future, if you want to make a new file, pick New File, browse the template, open up the template. Open the template to start the new drawing file. Don't open the template. Keep in mind one thing. Keep in mind that if you click on Open and go to open up a CAD drawing after this, let's say you want to go open up something you already drew, and you go Browse, and you look in your assignment folder. If you're not careful, you might not see anything, because sometimes this will stay stuck on templates. And you'll say, hey, I want to open something up. I want to open, and you're looking, but it's not looking for drawings, it's looking for templates. So sometimes I have poor students freak out when they go in their folder. They're like, all my drawings are gone. Well, your drawings aren't gone, it's just that it's looking for a template. If it's looking for a template, it's not going to see a drawing. Right? It's looking for templates, it's not showing drawings, but if you switch this to drawings, then all of a sudden your drawings will appear. So if you don't see your drawings, they probably didn't disappear, you might just be looking for a template instead. Alright, so this wraps up how to create our template. Our next step will be creating a border and a title block for use on our drawings for the near future.